On this very day, February 25th, in 1897, the Siege of Malakand took place, a significant event in the history of the British Empire. Dive with me now into the backdrop of the late 19th century. The British Empire, at the zenith of its power, was governing India, the jewel in its colonial crown. The region of Malakand, located in the northwestern frontier of British India, held geopolitical significance. It was a strategic gateway to Central Asia and a buffer against Russian expansionism, a concern during the Great Game era. The British Empire made efforts to establish control over the fiercely independent Pashtun tribes of the region. This was no small feat. The tribesmen, known for their warrior ethos, had resisted many an invader in their rugged, mountainous homeland. The British, however, were determined, and in 1895, they constructed the Malakand Fort, a symbol of their authority. Fast forward to the 20th century, on February 25, 1986, the People Power Revolution in the Philippines resulted in the overthrow of dictator Ferdinand Marcos. In the years leading up to this pivotal moment, the political climate in the Philippines was charged and turbulent. Marcos, who had been in power since 1965, had imposed martial law in 1972, citing communist insurgency and social unrest as reasons. This period was marked by widespread human rights abuses, censorship, and corruption. Despite the oppressive regime, opposition to Marcos grew steadily, coalescing into a unified force with the assassination of opposition leader Benigno Aquino Jr. in 1983. This event galvanized the populace, leading to increased protests and calls for Marcos to step down. One of the most influential figures during this period was Cardinal Jaime Sin, the Archbishop of Manila. His role cannot be overstated. The Catholic Church, deeply embedded in Filipino society, became a beacon of hope and resistance. Sin used his influence to urge Filipinos to exercise civil disobedience against the Marcos regime. The revolution itself was marked by massive nonviolent protests. People from all walks of life, students, professionals, farmers, the religious, and the secular, came together in a show of unity rarely seen in history. They thronged the Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, known as Edisa, in their millions. Despite the threat of military force, the crowds remained peaceful, praying, singing, and standing their ground. On that historic day, February 25, 1986, the pressure became too much for Marcos. Facing international condemnation and a loss of support from his own military, he fled the country, ending his 21-year rule. The People Power Revolution, a testament to the strength of peaceful protest, led to the restoration of democracy in the Philippines. On the same day, but 5 years later, February 25, 1991, a ceasefire was declared in the Gulf War, marking the end of a conflict that had begun in August 1990. The Gulf War, a conflict that spanned a good half a year, was triggered by Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. Iraq, under the rule of President Saddam Hussein, had long harbored territorial claims over Kuwait. When diplomatic efforts to resolve the dispute failed, Iraq launched a full-scale invasion, rapidly seizing control of the tiny oil-rich nation. This act of aggression did not sit well with the international community. The United Nations Security Council swiftly condemned Iraq's invasion, imposing economic sanctions and demanding an immediate withdrawal. When Iraq ignored these demands, the UN took a further step. For the first time in its history, it authorized the use of force against a member state. An international coalition, led by the United States, was assembled. Operation Desert Storm, as it came to be known, was a massive military operation. A relentless air campaign weakened Iraq's defenses, followed by a swift and decisive ground assault that drove the Iraqi forces out of Kuwait. On February 25, 1991, after 7 months of conflict, a ceasefire was declared. The war had resulted in a clear victory for the coalition forces, but the consequences extended far beyond the battlefield. The ceasefire did not mark the end of Iraq's troubles. The country was left with a crippled economy, widespread destruction, and a disillusioned population. The UN's sanctions remained in place, further straining Iraq's resources. The region was left in a state of instability, setting the stage for future conflicts. Internationally, the Gulf War had significant implications. It marked a turning point in the UN's approach to international peace and security. The successful use of force to repel Iraq's invasion set a precedent for future interventions. It also highlighted the effectiveness of multinational coalitions in responding to global crises. The Gulf War ceasefire, a pivotal moment in Middle Eastern politics, reshaped the region and ushered in a new era of international relations. Now, let's travel back in time to the world of arts. On February 25, 1841, the world welcomed the birth of Pierre-Auguste Renoir, a leading painter in the development of the Impressionist style. Born in Limoges, France, Renoir was the son of a tailor and a seamstress. Despite his humble beginnings, Renoir's talent for art was evident from an early age. At just 13, he was apprenticed to a porcelain painter, where his skill at drawing flourished. However, the mechanization of the porcelain industry led Renoir to pursue his passion for painting at the École des Beaux-Arts, and the rest, as they say, is history. Renoir's art is celebrated for its vibrant light and saturated color, most often focusing on people in intimate and candid settings. His early works were typically impressionist snapshots of real life, full of sparkling color and light. By the mid-1880s, however, he had broken with the movement to apply a more disciplined formal technique to portraits and figure paintings, particularly of women. Renoir was a leading painter in the development of the Impressionist style. As a celebrator of beauty, and especially feminine sensuality, it has been said that Renoir is the final representative of a tradition which runs directly from Rubens to Watteau. His contribution to the Impressionist movement cannot be understated. Renoir's paintings are notable for their vibrant light and saturated color, most often focusing on people in intimate and candid compositions. Among his most famous works are Dance at Le Moulin de la Galette and The Luncheon of the Boating Party. These paintings encapsulate his style perfectly, depicting joyous scenes of socializing, dancing, and dining. Renoir's ability to capture the human spirit in his work has left an indelible mark on the art world. Renoir's birth, a significant event in the world of art, marked the beginning of a life dedicated to capturing beauty and joy in paint. As we have seen, February 25th is a day marked by significant events in history. From the corners of the globe to the canvas of a masterpiece, this day has played a pivotal role in shaping our world. Let's cast our minds back to the Siege of Malakand, a 7-day struggle, a testament to human resilience, and a turning point in the annals of British colonial history. This event, though a single chapter, echoes through the chronicles of time, reminding us of the inherent human instinct for freedom and the price often paid for it. Then, we journeyed to the Philippines, where the People Power Revolution unfolded, a non-violent demonstration that proved the might of peaceful protest, leading to the downfall of a decades-long dictatorship. It showcases the power of unity, the strength of the collective, and the indomitable spirit of a people yearning for democracy. We then turned our attention to the Gulf War ceasefire, a momentous event that marked the end of a conflict that had shaken the world. It serves as a stark reminder of the devastating effects of war, the importance of diplomacy, and the value of peace. Finally, we celebrated the birth of Pierre-Auguste Renoir, a master of Impressionism whose brushstrokes have inspired millions. His birth on this day is a tribute to the enduring impact of art and culture, a testament to the power of creativity and the timeless beauty of expression. Each of these events, in their own way, has shaped the course of history and left an indelible mark on our world. As we look back on them, we are reminded of the power of human action and the enduring impact of art and culture.